Welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dunstan, and it is wonderful that you are here with me for our weekly I Ching forecast for the week commencing the 26th of August 2024. As always, before we get into this last weekly overview for August, let us cast our minds back to last week. We were working with Hexagram 64 before completion. That very, very important stage when we bring things to a close, when we start finishing things off. And you would have found that on your dashboard, in your focus last week, were issues related to where closings were happening for you, where you were needing to bring things to a close, to a landing, projects coming to a close, grappling with issues about how to wrap these things up, how to bring it in for a landing, how to work with this process we're in a new way. And perhaps you were quite confronted by some of the challenges of crossing that great water I spoke about, recognizing where we perhaps didn't have enough strength to make that crossing, need to be hyper-focused, draw in our resources and cross, but also not rush into crossing without thinking and being really clear as to where we are going and what's important. So what were you finishing last week? Plus, where did that lead in this interesting Hexagram 14? Abundance. Possession in great measure. We had this wonderful opportunity to tap into wealth. What did wealth mean for you last week? Did you work on an aspect of your abundance consciousness? Were you made aware of an area where perhaps you see things in a lack lens, right? Sometimes we see things from a lens of, I see what I don't have, as opposed to seeing the wealth that's already in my life. Perhaps wealth was financial returns. Perhaps wealth was recognizing that your network, your relationships, the people around you, your brand, your reputation, whatever it might be, is a huge source of wealth for you in your life and your life path. So if there was something that came out for you working with wealth, your abundance consciousness, and the cycles that were closing off, please do share a comment. Would love to hear those. This week, the last week of August, what is the I Ching asking us to pay attention to over and above all the other things that are on our dashboard? Well, our first hexagram for this week, our main real focus and attention and energy that we are flowing through and growing through is hexagram 23, splitting apart. With this hexagram, you can see that there's a whole lot of female lines and then a male line right at the top, which is weak. The weak lines underneath can't hold it up, right? It's not like the tower where we have the top two lines are male lines. Here we've got one little male line and these female lines are struggling to contain that energy. It talks about many different facets, as the hexagrams do, of the risk of things collapsing, of the structure collapsing, of things falling apart. Why do things fall apart? They fall apart because there is something holding up the structure, right? Something's holding up the roof that is no longer equipped to the task. There's old stuff here, there's weakened walls, there's perhaps not enough structure, not enough scaffolding to hold everything up. And so we have this risk of collapse. So that's one aspect of this hexagram where we are focused into not building up all the reinforcements. Do what you can to build up your foundation and your reinforcements in your life. Always do that because they hold us up and they give us space to do the growing and to move forward and do what we need to do. What we do with this hexagram, the strategy it brings to us, is it brings us the opportunity to cut away what is old. Now, the graphic kind of imagery that comes with this is cutting away, meat from a bone. Or cutting away something, cutting out the gangrenous flesh, right? Sorry about this visual, but that's the idea. We take something that's old, done, outmoded, worn out, and we cut it out of what we're doing. We strip it out of what we are doing. We strip it away from where we are going, and we make a conscious choice to take action to remove this thing. Because if we don't do the work of stripping this out, life, universe, whatever, right, karma will do it for you, okay? And those are the situations in life where we hold on to the old, outmoded stuff for so long. We hold on to it. We're so precious about the way things were, and we get to a point where the rug gets pulled out from under our feet because we didn't take the proactive steps in working with this hexagram. So you might find this week the rug gets pulled, and what it does is it draws your attention to where the outmoded and old needs to go. Invariably, when we look at situations that happen to us where things just suddenly change or there's challenging circumstances, it usually points to an area where we've neglected to take action to get rid of the old issue. Okay, that is one aspect. Okay, we might find it happens to us, but we can also be proactive. We can also say, in a situation, in this process, what do we need to cut away and remove and simplify, get rid of the old, get rid of what's rotten. Okay, it can be literally what is rotten in this environment, what is kind of infected, get rid of it. And so you might find that physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, whatever level, there's something we need to cut away, strip out, and get back to the bare basics. This is also akin to the idea of pruning a tree. We think when we take the shears to the tree, we chop it back, that this is a terrible situation. But when we do it at the right time, when the tree is ready for it, when the season is right, what it allows the tree to do is concentrate its energy into important parts of the tree and allow that tree to then burst forth and shoot out in the next season, because it has had all the dead wood and the extraneous branches cut away. It doesn't have to put energy into these old things. It doesn't have to try and maintain them because they're dead, they're gone, they're dying. Cut it out. Okay, so we're pruning trees. We're cutting back, we're cutting out what's old, and we are getting back to the core of what is really, really important this week. One changing line in the third position, and this changing line says we need to vigorously adhere to what's valuable, to the people who are valuable, to the superior person, whether it's your principles or it's a connection that you are connected to, and cut away the inferior people or the inferior self. This is a moment of crossing, a moment of transition from the bottom trigram to the top. Line 3 is always that. And it can represent an internal process we're cutting away, right, our old thoughts, or it can be letting go of inferior people, right? But whatever we do with vigor and energy, because now's the moment. Do it now, cut it away, prune that tree and go. So there's something very urgent, something very energetic and intense about this process. And the line also talks about this idea that you might have some opposition from these inferior people, right, who recognize that you are lobbing them off and sending them on their merry way. You might have some pushback and some moaning and some griping. Don't pay any attention to it. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get caught up in the drama of other people's issues. What's really important is your principles, the principles of what you're doing, looking after your team, your business, whatever it is, your responsibilities, being in your highest and best self, and committing yourself to taking action and moving forward with energy and leaving behind the stragglers, the moaners, the leeches, whatever this means, okay, whatever this means to you in your life this coming week, is to move forward with energy. No time to be held back by drama and negativity. Whether it's our own negativity, whether it's other people that are hanging on for dear life, we don't do that. We cut loose and go. So it's a very, very vigorous line which is calling us to take action. In a way, an energy following on from last week of the action that's required to move forward. Strategize, have the team and cross the river. There's an energy here in that line 3 position of doing the same thing. Make that transition with energy. Now, because we have a changing line, we have an outcome hexagram, right? And it's hexagram 52, keeping still. Keeping still is a doubling of mountains. So it's a mountain trigram on the top, mountain trigram on the bottom, a doubling and intensifying of mountain energy. What does a mountain represent? Sinking and resting, creating a boundary, creating a finishing line, or rigidity in a way, because a mountain is like this very fixed object that can be very hard to overcome. So it represents fixing the lines, fixing the energy, creating a boundary, creating the end, all right, creating a stop. And this hexagram really calls us to keep still. Okay. What this hexagram is trying to bring us is trying to get us out of the drama and the energy and all the racing and the emotional, mental, physical hurly-burly that we go through, and going within, okay, and acting from that place of inner stillness. This doesn't mean in the week you don't do anything, all right, and you just contemplate your navel all week. No. But it's about being in that meditative state, right, where you're calm, you keep still, you don't rush to fix things. As much as there's this changing line that says, cut away, embrace the new, okay, move forward, be decisive. There's also this energy, this victory of reaching a place of stillness and calm and fixing our energy. Just anchoring our energy and being absolutely present. And you might find that life brings you the opportunity this week of being still, right? Laying like broccoli, right? Just be still. Just be calm. Think about whatever area of your life you're being brought to a standstill. But this is not hexagram 12 where it stands still. It's terrible. This is about a peaceful repose, right? The position, the meditative position of the Buddha. If you think of that image of being in peaceful repose, okay, not reacting and overreacting from the mental, emotional, physical worlds, but just being in your center, being at peace, being in your center, being still, okay, and reacting from that still place, not reacting from the emotions, the mind, and the agitation of the physical world. Okay, so there's work for us to do. We've got to cut away. We've got to take vigorous action to cut away. But at the same time, we need to get to that place of stillness. That's how we find victory this week. That is what is the payoff for doing so well in cutting away what is old, the inferior people, the out-of-date values, all right, that we hold, cutting those away, moving forward, and then just being present, right? Being in your body, not being in the future, being in the present, being in your present state of mind, and being open and ready to what you receive as a result. A wonderful and interesting week. Let's see what we chop away, okay? Let's be proactive creators of releasing that which is old. And whenever you come across difficulties this week, perhaps just stop for a moment and think about where might this be old stuff that we haven't let go of, and what could we do to get rid of it, all right? What can we do to just smite it from our lives there and then, all right? Take no prisoners. Thank you so much. I wish you a wonderful week. And of course, if this was useful to you, a thumbs up, a like would be really, really great. And of course, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell to get the notifications into your app. And the same for the podcast version, hit the follow button. And I look forward to seeing you very soon for our September overview, because we are here in September and that is terrifying. Have you worked towards your goals? Have you got somewhere with your goals and the vision you had for yourself for this year? Well, we've got a little bit left, so let's give it a go. 4 months left. Let's crack on. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.